Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and shorten this down because I don't need a video on every single one of these signings. So if people are like, is he doing a video on every signing? No. 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 Even I'm not that crazy. Let's talk about how goaltending changed today, shall we? So Peter Mrazek, and I'm not going to get into the amount or the term because that'll be on the review video later. Peter Mrazek is now a goaltender in Carolina. I thought they were trying to build a playoff team. Losing Cam Ward and picking up Peter Mrazek is just, he's younger. But, again, this really feels like a Carolina thing to do, that they just shoot themselves in the foot. Mrazek wasn't good for Detroit, and then he went to Philly, and he wasn't good for Philly either. He was good at the start, and then it just fell apart for him. Which you would think that when they're already overpaying Scott Darling, and right now it looks like they're stuck with Scott Darling, I don't know how this is going to work. I really don't. And I'm trying to figure out how, what angle this can work on. I haven't looked at the exact numbers. $1.5 million, it's a 1-year deal. But they want to make the playoffs during this 1 year. It's weird. Jonathan Bernier to Detroit. I believe I mentioned a couple days ago that with that being the rumor that was going to be done. I like Bernier in Detroit. I think it's a good upgrade for them on this guy, Mrazek. I think Bernier is a solid goaltender who can definitely steal some starts from Jimmy Howard. And I'm trying to get all the names straight because there's been so many names over the last couple hours. Bernier, though, is a solid netminder. He showed that in Anaheim. He showed that in Colorado. And I think he'll show it again in Detroit. Anton Khudobin goes from Boston to Dallas. I like it very much. I'm very, very happy when a player that I like goes from a team I like to another team I like. I can't complain in the slightest about this one, even if I wanted to. Cam Ward to Chicago. It depends. Does he bounce back? If he bounces back, then he could absolutely be a guy that steps in should Corey Crawford need more time to recover. If something happens with Corey Crawford, Ward could be the guy. As long as they don't overplay him. He was playing really well in Carolina, and then it just felt like they overplayed him because Darling was a train wreck. So they got Mrazek. Jaro Halak is now going to be the backup in Boston. I like it. Only because Halak can play about 30 games. I really think Rask gets overplayed in Boston. And maybe by going from Khudobin to Halak, maybe Cassidy will rest Rask some more. There's really no risk to this, but Boston didn't have anybody in their organization that could take over as a backup goaltender. Buffalo did something interesting today. They got both Carter Hutton and Scott Wedgewood. Wedgewood, of course, would have to clear waivers to go to the minors. Could he? Yeah, probably. Wedgewood's stock has been low, and yet what this means is that if they go into training camp and if they decide, Olmark's just not going to cut it, then they can go with Hutton and Wedgewood, which would be the weakest tandem in the league, and I know that. I think Olmark and Hutton, until Olmark's proved himself at the NHL level, that's a suspect tandem. But Carter Hutton apparently left more money on the table from other teams in order to sign in Buffalo, so he's excited to go to Buffalo. And I do think that he'll be an improvement on Leonard, who is still out there at this hour. No idea on where Leonard's going to end up going. There's a few different places I guess he could go. Does he end up just going back to Europe? One of the crazy rumors, of course, is, well, what if Ottawa picks him up? Oh, I don't think that's going to happen. And, of course, Chad Johnson leaves Buffalo and goes to St. Louis, so it's the Hutton for Johnson trade that's not an actual trade, but it's kind of a trade because they switch spots. You can have my spot and I'll have yours. Johnson's a half-decent backup when he's on his game. He did not have a great season this past year. I'm not going to lie about it. But Hutton, while he may be a better backup than Johnson, if Husso's ready, and I said this morning when I talked about St. Louis and their signings, if Husso is capable of being an NHL level backup, and if they see that in training camp, Johnson won't be a Blue for long. But there could be a case to be made that maybe Husso's not NHL level, and maybe St. Louis knows that, and they're bringing in Johnson to be the backup. So we'll see what happens, but who wins out of all of this? I really don't know. I really don't know. I know there's other backups that are out there yet to be had. I would say that Bernier getting a 3-year, $9 million contract, he's kind of a winner here. For a guy who hasn't shown himself to be a starter. to get $3 million a year for 3 years to get that kind of job security. That's kind of smart. And we'll see what happens with him. But there you go. There's, at this point, 7 teams that have added a goaltender. There's going to be others, but I wanted to put them all into one video. Let me know which one you like the most, which one you don't like, which one you think is a confusion-inducing signing. But I think this is smart. Again, having an NHL experience backup for Buffalo, if Hutton's going to be the starter, and if they decide Ullmark needs more time. But, I mean, I know, and I know Buffalo is like, what are you talking about? I know. Ullmark is supposed to be the guy this year for Buffalo. He's supposed to come up. But I'm just saying that if he has a bad camp, maybe Wedgewood ends up taking that job. I've been waiting for Wedgewood to do something at some point. Maybe this is the year. Maybe. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do not forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And there's the goalies. And I think that'll about do it for videos where I talk about individual signings or this kind of thing. And then we'll just do the review at the end of the night. Unless there's another big name that gets signed between now and then. But thank you guys so much for watching. Again, apologize for just the sheer amount of videos that all of a sudden, boom, here they are, all of them all at once. But a lot got done today, and there's a lot to unpack. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.